I married the man of my dreams and thought I was gaining a second mother. But behind her smile was a monster. And when she came for everything I loved, I didn't break. I transformed. This isn't just a revenge story. It's the unraveling of a mask, a slow burn war between a woman and the mother-in-law who tried to erase her. If you've ever been betrayed by someone who smiled to your face but stabbed you behind your back, this story is your closure. Hit that like button, subscribe for more epic revenge stories, and don't skip. The ending will hit like a thunderclap. When I first met Victoria, I thought she was graceful, elegant even. The kind of woman who looked like she belonged in a catalog. Perfect hair, expensive pearls, a voice that sounded soft and sweet, like honey and silk. She was my fiancé's mother. And she would later try to ruin my life. My name is Emily. At the time, I was 26, freshly engaged to Ryan, the love of my life. We met during grad school, and had the kind of relationship that felt rare. Full of kindness, laughter, and respect. When he proposed, I cried. And when he said, "I can't wait for you to meet my mom," I smiled, because I thought that would be the easiest part. Oh, how naive I was. We went to her house for dinner the following weekend. She welcomed me with a hug and said, "So you're the girl who stole my son." It sounded like a joke. I laughed. But her eyes didn't. Underscore 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 underscore. Victoria was flawless on the outside, the kind of woman who threw perfect garden parties and hosted charity galas. But beneath the polished exterior was a sharpness I didn't expect. She didn't insult me directly. She didn't have to. She'd say things like, "Ryan never liked girls who wore that much makeup. Oh, you went to a state college. That's cute. You know, it takes a certain kind of woman to manage a real household." I brushed it off. Told myself I was being sensitive. Ryan said, "She's just protective. You'll grow on her." But I wasn't growing on her. I was invading her territory. Underscore 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 underscore. After we got married, she started calling Ryan every night. Sometimes twice. If I answered, she'd say, "Is Ryan there? I really need to talk to my son." Then came the visits. Unannounced. Long controlling. She'd rearrange my kitchen, criticize my cooking, and once told me my sofa looked like it came from a motel. Still I tried. I invited her to lunch. I complimented her cooking. I laughed at her jokes. But one day, I overheard her on the phone. She didn't know I was home. She was speaking to a friend. Her voice was calm, cold. "She's not right for him. I'll make sure she's gone by Christmas." And just like that, the war began. Underscore 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 underscore. Let me know if you'd like me to continue with. I should have seen it coming. The warning signs were there, the backhanded compliments, the sudden icy silence when Ryan left the room. The way she never used my name, just her. But it wasn't until Christmas that I realized. Victoria wasn't just difficult. She was dangerous. That December, she invited us to her home for a family Christmas. I didn't want to go. Not after that phone call I overheard, but Ryan begged me. "It's just a weekend," he said. "She's trying to make an effort." Effort? Right. Underscore 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 underscore. We arrived to a perfectly decorated house. Pine-scented candles, golden ornaments, A 10-foot tree covered in glittering white lights. It looked like a magazine cover. She greeted Ryan with open arms, kissed his cheek, then turned to me and said, "Oh, you made it." No hug. No smile. Strike one. During dinner, she placed me at the far end of the table, away from Ryan, away from everyone, and seated Ryan right beside his ex-girlfriend, Sophie. Yes, Sophie. The girl who used to call him Riri. The one Victoria always accidentally mentioned in front of me. Strike two. Victoria spent the entire meal reminiscing loudly about the good old days. "Remember when you and Sophie made that gingerbread house in high school? That was real love." I excused myself to the bathroom, locked the door, sat on the edge of the tub, and tried not to cry. But she wasn't done yet. Underscore 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 underscore. The next morning, I woke up to find Victoria sitting at the kitchen table with Ryan, holding something in her hand. A folder. Inside, a printed email from an anonymous account. It accused me of cheating. There were photos. Fake ones. Doctored screenshots. It said I was secretly meeting up with someone during Ryan's business trips. Ryan looked at me, pale and confused. "Emily, what the hell is this?" I stared at the folder like it was radioactive. "It's not real," I said. "None of this is true. You know me." Victoria stood there, arms folded, calm as ever. "People can be very good at hiding things, Ryan." And for a moment, just one, he hesitated. My heart cracked. That hesitation told me everything. She had gotten to him. Underscore 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 underscore. I grabbed the folder, tossed it in the fireplace, and watched it burn. Then I turned to Ryan and said something I didn't expect. "If you believe her lies over the woman you married, you don't deserve to know the truth." And I left. Yes, I left. I packed a bag, took my keys, and walked out of that perfect Christmas nightmare. It wasn't weakness. It was survival. Underscore 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 underscore. I stayed at a hotel for 3 days. No calls. No texts. Just silence and thinking. And I realized something. I was done trying to win her love. Victoria didn't want a daughter-in-law. She wanted control. She wasn't just trying to break me. She was trying to erase me. Underscore 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 underscore. So when Ryan finally called and said, "I made a mistake. I'm sorry. I know it was her." I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just said, "Good. Now it's my turn." Because from that moment on, I wasn't just fighting back. I was planning her fall. Underscore 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 underscore. If Victoria wanted a war, she picked the wrong woman to provoke. For 3 days after Ryan's apology, I said nothing. I needed him back on my side, but not as a shield, as a witness. Because I had one goal now. Destroy the woman who tried to destroy me. And I knew exactly where to start. Her perfect reputation. underscore 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 underscore. Victoria was known as Saint Victoria in her community. She ran a women's charity. She posted Bible verses on Facebook. She gave speeches about grace and integrity. But something never added up. She didn't work. She had no job. Yet she always wore designer heels, hosted $20,000 weddings for her friends' kids, and lived like royalty. So I started digging. Underscore 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 underscore. I called an old friend of Ryan's who used to help Victoria with her charity's website. We met for coffee, and after 10 minutes he leaned in and said, "It's weird. The books never really balanced. Her numbers were always off." That was my first crack. Then I messaged 2 former volunteers. They told me Victoria handled all the donations herself. No board, no oversight. One of them even said, "I saw her take cash from a fundraiser and never report it." That's when I knew. This wasn't just drama anymore. This was fraud. Underscore 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 underscore. I started collecting screenshots, email records, and donor reports. And guess what? Her charity had filed zero tax paperwork for the last 3 years. It was a ticking time bomb. And I had the match. But I wasn't going to blow it up yet. Not until she crossed the final line. And oh, she would. Because people like Victoria? They always push too far. Underscore 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 underscore. I didn't think she could sink lower. I was wrong. After Ryan and I reconciled, we decided to try for a baby. And a few weeks later, I was pregnant. I was scared, excited, hopeful. But the moment Victoria found out, everything changed. She stopped pretending. A child? Now, are you sure this is the right time? Emily, raising a child is a lot of work. You can barely manage your marriage. She told Ryan I was too emotional, too unstable. She said maybe he should rethink becoming a father with someone so dramatic. And then she did it. The one thing I'll never forgive. She told Ryan's aunt, who told Ryan's cousin, who told a friend, who told me. Victoria said she hopes the baby doesn't make it. She thinks it would be a blessing in disguise. I felt sick. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. But I could fight. And now I wasn't just fighting for myself. I was fighting for someone who hadn't even been born yet. So I made a plan. Underscore 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 underscore. I waited 2 weeks. Then, quietly, I sent an anonymous tip to a local investigative blog that focused on charity fraud. I included everything. Bank records, screenshots, fake tax filings, whistleblower statements. Then I sat back and waited. It took 4 days. The blog ran a full expose titled, "The Truth Behind St. Victoria. Where did the money go?" And within hours, the fire spread. Donors pulled out. The IRS opened an investigation. Her name, once respected, was now radioactive. Ryan's phone exploded with calls. His co-workers started whispering, "Victoria?" She went into hiding. But I wasn't done yet. She tried to destroy my family. I was going to dismantle hers. One by one, they called me. Ryan's aunt. His cousins. Even his father, who'd been estranged for years. We always knew something was off about her. You were right to keep records. She fooled all of us. I can't believe she lied to her own son. For years she had manipulated everyone, guilt-tripped them, isolated them, used money to control them. But now, she had nothing left to offer. No reputation, no status, no power. And when Ryan asked me, "Did you send that tip?" I looked him in the eye and said, "She came for our marriage, our home, our child." I protected all three. And for the first time ever, he didn't defend her. He defended me. Underscore 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 underscore. 3 weeks later, she showed up at our door. Uninvited. Shaky. Pale. She didn't come in. She just stood there, clutching her coat. "I lost everything," she said. I didn't reply. "Are you happy now?" Still silent. Then she looked up at me and whispered, "You ruined me." And that's when I finally spoke. "No. You did. I just made sure the world saw it." I closed the door in her face. And it was the most peaceful sound I'd ever heard. I gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. Her name is Grace. She'll never meet the woman who tried to sabotage her existence. And she'll grow up knowing her mother stood her ground. Ryan and I are stronger now. We went to therapy. We rebuilt. And he finally apologized, not just with words, but with action. He cut his mother out for good. Sometimes I still get calls from people who knew Victoria, trying to hear my side. I always tell them, my side doesn't matter anymore. The truth spoke for itself. Victoria? She lost it all. Her charity was shut down. Her home foreclosed. She moved in with a distant cousin 3 cities away. Every now and then, someone spots her in a grocery store, alone, quiet, pretending to be invisible. I don't pity her, because she wasn't just cruel, she was deliberate. She didn't break because of what I did. She broke because her empire was built on lies. And I just told the truth. Revenge wasn't the goal. Peace was. But sometimes you can't have peace until you burn down the war. I didn't win because I fought louder. I won because I fought smarter. And most of all, because I refused to be erased. To anyone out there being gaslit, belittled, or broken down by someone who hides behind family, let them underestimate you. And then bury them in silence so loud the whole world hears it. If this story gave you chills, or reminded you of someone who once tried to control your life, don't stay silent. Hit that like button, subscribe for more epic real-life revenge stories, and tell us in the comments, have you ever been underestimated and then come back stronger? And remember, sometimes the sweetest revenge is finally living without fear.